This is Deepington of House Deeper, a long-lost clan of the Dunmer, and for a good reason. Welcome to Skyrim. Today we're going to find out if we can bring back honor to this deep dark elf and his ancestors. We'll be attempting to go from 0 to hero, playing on legendary difficulty and survival mods implemented. We'll be using the Nolvus Modpack, which has over 2,000 mods, so you know this is going to be quite a ride. Now we do have a couple of goals we need to accomplish, the first of which is going to be to learn a master destruction spell. You may be thinking to yourself, well, that's easy, right? Well, Clan Deeper has been long lost for a reason. Dark elves are known for their magic prowess, but this particular clan has no magic abilities, at least that they know of. So in accordance with this, we had to bump down his magicka to 10. I tried to get it to 0, but it didn't let me. So we will really need to focus on magic if we're trying to get that master destruction spell. Our next goal is to build a house with our bare hands and raise a family. Deepington is the last of its kind. We must prevent that somehow. And then last on the list is gain the respect of his fellow Dunmer. Now this could be a broad overarching theme. I'm not even sure exactly what that means, but we'll figure it out as we go. Now as you can see, Deepington has been through quite the ringer. Scars laced across his body. He hasn't had a haircut in years, and he doesn't have a gold septum to his name. He does, however, have ambition, and with that, who knows where it'll take him. Now we start Day 1. So day 1 had begun. This was important. We had to start this off right. And seeing as how we had 0 gold septums to our name, we decided to see if we can earn a few gold. There was a free wood cutting axe, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity to do some hard labor to earn a few. So we chopped a few wooden blocks and then headed to the local store. We went to Bellathor to sell this wood. Even 1 gold septum would do. But Bellathor said, hell nah. So that was a bit of a time waster. Every no was closer to a yes. So we didn't let that get us down. We instead decided to go around town and collect some ingredients. Maybe with these ingredients, we could construct some helpful potions and sell those for a few dollars. We picked up a few notices from the bulletin board as well, kept these in our back pocket for when we become strong enough to tackle those quests. We headed into the Cloud District and into Dragon's Reach, and then tried to make some potions. The first one had failed, of course, but then we made a pretty decent one. Now surprisingly, they let this beggar in the castle, or maybe they just didn't notice I came in, but I didn't want to push our luck. So we left. Now on the way to sell the potion, we ended up seeing the Companions Guild. And what a better way to make some extra gold and learn how to fight than joining a guild that specializes in this. So we went in and checked inside, saw a few of them fighting, and was convinced this is what we needed. We went downstairs to go find the leader and talked to Codlack. Codlack had a little belief in me, which sparked some hope, but the other companion wasn't convinced. He challenged us to armed combat to test our strength in battle. We had no choice but to agree, so we reluctantly went outside. He told me to swing at him, and swing at him we did. We used our new wood-cutting prowess and banged his shield up. Surprisingly, Vilkas was impressed, and then he gave us a delivery task. We were winning favor with the companions, so we went to go see Orlin and deliver as requested. Orlin ended up being pretty friendly, which was nice, and then he gave us a delivery quest as well. So deliver we did to earn the favor of the companions. Next we needed to find Aella. We circled back to the Companions Guild, found Aella, and then met a new friend called Farkas. Farkas told us we had a free bed this day, which was a big upgrade from sleeping on the streets, and even gave us an official quest to earn our place in the Companions Guild. So we went to work right away, and even picked up a complimentary green robe before departing. We finally got out of our crusty old rags, and we were smelling fresh like linen. There was somebody on the streets of Whiterun causing some problems. Ended up being the owner of the weapons store, so we had to go talk to him and beat him into submission. Now it was time to fight. We fought our hardest we've ever fought before, but he beat us into submission. We limped off in defeat, ashamed. We couldn't even beat a lowly citizen of Whiterun. We couldn't show our faces back in the companions, looking like this at least. So we went into the local temple to get patched up. We ended up finding a priestess called Mabel, and for some reason she saw a glow inside of our soul. She immediately asked to join us, and how could I say no to that? The Fellowship of the Ring could only save the day, with multiple parties working in unison. So we welcomed Mabel to the team. Now with our newfound strength and getting patched up by our new friend, we did some street practice to practice our punches, see what technique we liked the most. And now we were ready. We went back in for round 2. Round 2 started, and it looked like the shopkeeper was possessed by a demon. Maybe that's why we had to beat him into submission. We had to actually beat the demon out of him. So we proceeded to try to beat him up, and then he beat us into submission once again. We lost yet again, and walked shamefully back outside. And we couldn't go back to the Companions Guild, not with our defeat. So we decided to go outside of Whiterun for the first time and train up. We walked down the road past the farms. and we're on our way to a little hamlet called Riverwood. We ended up seeing a glowing shard as well and decided to pick it up. We could feel power flowing through us for a split second. We knew we had to pick up more. We continued walking down even further and noticed a citizen being attacked by 2 wolves. We had to intervene. We double teamed with the Argonian and slayed both wolves. We had done our first act of service, rescuing the people of Skyrim. Riverwood was just around the corner, so we crossed the bridge and made it there. Now it was late, so we decided to get some sleep. We found a few cots on the outskirts of town and decided to sleep till morning. That was the end of day 1. We woke up for day 2, feeling a lot stronger than the day before, so we got straight to work. We needed to get even stronger, so we went to head to a mine near town. There was a group of bandits over there, and we could help out the citizens of Riverwood clear them out. We first had to take out this group of wolves, and Mabel proved a worthy friend, almost single-handedly taking out these wolves with her electric magic. We could learn a thing or two from her. We entered the mine and prepared for what was coming next. The bandits were already up. Thievery never ends. Mabel took one of them, while the other one followed me. I knew I couldn't take him by myself, so I had to use enhanced tactics. I used my friend Mr. Rock, and Mr. Rock pulled through. And we mainly came in here for supplies, so we had to grab his armor. And then we noticed this guy stuck. Mabel was handling her business, so I had to handle my business too. I tried to chip away at him, but I kept missing. And then he got unstuck, so I used Mr. Rock once again. Bye-bye, Mr. Bandit. Things were calm now. Mabel handled her own, and surprisingly, I did too. So we equipped our newly found armor and an iron sword, and now we were ready for anything. Except for what was about to happen. We unlocked the bridge, and 5 bandits immediately proceeded to come outside. This was not good. Mabel had no hesitation, so I tried to help her from the back, but we were hit once and went down to half health. Even our attacks were being deflected. There was no way. We almost got killed, and thankfully got a dodge in. We had to retreat for now, so we ran out of Embershard Mine. Adrenaline was pumping. We needed to take a breather. We almost got our lights turned off. We continued down the path towards the sound of water and stumbled upon some stones. This stone was radiating magical energy, so we decided to give it a pat. Magic was now flowing deeper than ever. Now Mabel and I decided to go back to town to see if we could find some additional help. There were just too many bandits for 2 people to take on alone, so we went to see if there was any local mercenaries that Riverwood could offer up, but not before hitting up another Sky Shard. We went to go check out the local tavern, but the only 2 people in here were a barman and Delphiner, so we went to go check the Riverwood trader. Our brother and his sister were arguing, and of course nobody in sight to help us out on our journey. But next to the lumber mill, we found a potential candidate, a hunter who knows the lands well and could probably defend himself. So we talked to Faendal, and he just requested one task from us: lie to the girl he loved, so while he was away, she wouldn't get swooped up by somebody else. So lie we did. We went to a Camilla Valerius and gave her the fake note. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? We went back to Faendal, and he was more than happy to join along. As a thank you, I decided to give him some gear we picked up. We needed all the help we could get. We then went back for round 2. Following the path back to the mine, invigorated, we had a small army now. We took a quick dip to refresh our mindset and then entered the mine once again. We were definitely ready this time, and it was time to prove it. Somebody was immediately ready to fight, so we went in for the attack. It seemed that we were overwhelming him, and overwhelm him we did. But that was just one. We had an assassin come from the shadows, and she was relentless. Thankfully, she didn't get the killing blow, and Faendal shot her in the head. Mabel ended up dragging me out of the mine, and we rested for a few hours before heading back again. We had to conquer this mine. We took some more armor from a fallen foe, equipped ourselves, and got ready to fight. We had a bandit that knew magic, and these were the most powerful foes to defeat, so we took some caution. Mabel was throwing shots from the bridge, while Faendal shooting arrows from below, and I, the decoy, trying to lure him out of the shaft. I tried to shoot him with my own bow, but my skill as an archer was nil to none. These bandits were smart. They weren't coming out. They knew they were safer inside the shaft. And then I got a little overconfident, and the bandit froze me to the bone. But my followers are resourceful. Mabel distracted them as Faendal dragged me out, but that's not the end of it. We went in for round 3. Mabel was hitting her shots this time, and I was missing mine. But Mabel got one of them finally, and it was our time to head in. I got in and lured one of them out, and Mabel proceeded to barrage him with magical electric orbs. We picked up a new shiny steel sword and were assassinated from the back. Maybe it was a dream though, because we went back for round 4, quickly killing the bandit mage and seeing our assassin once again. This time, it was personal. I went in with some hack and slashes, and Mabel got the finishing blow. We took out our friend, and Mabel's magic exploded the corpse, knocking me down. That's alright though, she saved me more than once. We looted the treasures nearby, and we were on to the final room. We had a heavy hitter. Thankfully I dodged that first attack. And Faendal got up close and personal. It was 3v1, we had this one. Now we had an archer on the bridge we had to take care of. It was me and Faendal, slashing and hacking and slashing. But she was a tough one. She was eating our shots. The battle pursued, Mabel had the heals, and then we finally finished her. A sense of triumph came over us. This small army had defeated a small bandit outpost. We took our treasures of winning, which were actually quite a lot. A couple gold septums and some gems to call ours. We left the mine and went back down the path to Riverwood. We saw 2 people were murderized on the side of the road. How unfortunate. But their supplies were ripe for the picking. Rest in peace, ladies. We had no time to stop in the Riverwood, though. We had other work to accomplish. Before we were heading back to Whiterun, we had unfinished business to take care of. But not before hitting up another Sky Shard. Posing like the Ginyu Force. It was time to say hello to our favorite weapon shop owner. I'm back again. But before fighting, we saw a lovely young lady sitting down. It seemed she had a quarrel with the shop owner as well. So we invited her to the team. Then we tried to impress our new comrade by beating his lights out. He then decided to whoop our behind. That was absolutely heartbreaking. He beat us so bad we could barely stand in the streets. Feeling embarrassed that our new friend had to see that, we limped away, our mind broken, body beaten. We could beat a whole mine of bandits, but we still couldn't beat up a shop owner. We still couldn't show our face at the Companions Guild, so we got a room at the local inn. We slept off our brutal beating and reflected on the day's events. Day 2 had come to a close. Day 3 had come, and there was no sense on reflecting on the past. Our goal was to become better than yesterday. Our friends were still here by our side, despite our weakness, so we couldn't let them down. We decided to head for the Cloud District. Maybe this posse could do some good for Whiterun. We asked the steward if he may have a quest or 2 to aid the Jarl. He told us there was a potential assassination attempt, and he needed an undercover agent to handle this. He needed somebody no one knew anything about, and I was the perfect candidate. This is our opportunity, an opportunity to make a difference. So we went to investigate. Our first stop, Arcadia's Cauldron. We were on the search to see of any customers who bought some poisons. With Arcadia's help, we took a look at the ledger and found 2 more leads. Our first was to check the Tomb of the Dead at the local crematorium. Whiterun's catacombs are notorious for the dead attacking, so we went in prepared. We took out the scaly bellies, and Takata's fire was proving very useful. These skeletons were child's play compared to the bandits, but something luminous was lurking in the shadows. It was a gloom wraith, a step above the skeletons, but fortunately we had 2 magic wielders. Faendal went in without a step, so I had to get his back. We unleashed a flurry of attacks, eventually taking him down. We were a team not to be messed with. We then searched around the catacombs and stumbled upon a note. This note led us to check the stables outside of Whiterun, and upon investigating the stables, there was a dead man stuffed in the back. He had a note on him though. Before he died, he wrote down some information, and that information led us to a bandit outpost, Silent Moon's camp. We had to go there, but not before hitting another Sky Shard. We warmed up with some mud crabs, which actually almost killed us. Okay, I lied. The mud crabs did get the better of me, but that's okay. I had 3 friends to pull me out of the water, which gave me the opportunity to get my revenge. But now it was time. Silent Moon's camp was here, and there was a whole army of bandits waiting. And we went in, fighting, and then retreating, and then fighting again. We were fighting on our best. Our team had some pretty good dynamics. The only short end of the stick was me, but my companions, they didn't hold that against me. We continued fighting our way through the fort, Faendal and myself taking the front lines, while Takata and Mabel firing from the back. It seemed we had a good strategy, and we were slowly taking out the bandits. We had taken them out and found the note left by the assassin. He was already at Whiterun, mounting an attack on the Jarl. We had to hurry back. The Jarl's life was in danger. We knew exactly where the assassin was, so we tried not to make a commotion, but calmly proceed inside, and the assassin was right where we thought, hiding in the shadows on the balcony. So we went and took him out, and he had a very handy bow as well. We talked to the steward Proventus, and he was very thankful for our work. He gave us a generous sum of money, and we called it a day. We went back to the Companions Guild this time to lay and rest our head. We had accomplished a lot this day, and it was time to lay down and reflect to become stronger. This was the end of day 3. Day 4 had come, and it was one of the most beautiful days yet, but we didn't have any time to stop and take in the sights. We had a lot of work to do. We had taken a quest from the notice board, and there was a bounty for the bandit chief at Valtheim Towers. We took this opportunity to earn some extra gold as well as get a little bit tougher because that weapon shop owner still needs to get a beat down. We strolled through Whiterun and across the bridge where we encountered a group of bandits ready to fight. And fight we did. But little did we know, some of them were infected. In an enraged state, 2 of them had evolved into a werebear, and the battle was on. These guys were tough, so we kept our distance, and we eventually ended up taking them down. But this was no small feat. I needed to beef up my companions, because the battle ahead would be even tougher. I suited up my main man Faendal with some upgraded armor, and then we were off once again. We ran into yet another battle, this time a battle of magic. There was an undead ritual going on, and the sky began to become overcast. The undead were near the entrance, which we took out, and then going up further, there was a necromancer's lair. The apprentice immediately attacked, and of course we defended ourselves. But the apprentice was powerful. He was able to summon Daedra. Who knows what the master could do? We ran up the steps to face the master to stop whatever ritual he was doing, but we were too late. He raised the skeletons and we had to fight to the end. We managed to quickly take down the skeletons thanks to the group's magic abilities, and then it was on to the conjurer himself. He had some kind of magical armor because he was just eating these sword attacks, but eventually it broke down and he fell face to the floor. It was time to move on to our main goal. We were losing sunlight and we still had a bandit chief to catch. We made it to Valtheim Tower and we were immediately attacked by archers, and these archers were no joke, so we had to retreat a little bit. I let Faendal take a few out with his bow, and then we proceeded in. We took out one of the guards and then entered the tower. Crossing the bridge, the sun began to come out again, and this is our time to attack. We fought face to face, sweat, blood, and tears, until eventually we took enough of the bandits out and the bandit chief surrendered. We had won. We placed the bandit into handcuffs and proceeded to make our way out. But on our way out, we noticed a prisoner. We couldn't just leave her here, so we grabbed her too to find her some safe haven in Whiterun. We left Valtheim Tower and headed to Whiterun. We dropped off the bandit to the guard, which he took to Whiterun prison, and then we were off to make sure this captive had somewhere safe to sleep tonight. So we went over to the tavern. The tavern girls immediately welcomed her in, and day 4 came to a close. We ordered a bite to eat and a bed to sleep because this day was full of accomplishment and it was time to rest. Day 5 had come and we've came a long way, but we couldn't slow down. We still had a long way to go. After all, we still had a shop owner to beat, and we definitely still weren't strong enough. We needed to become even stronger, and the only way was to find more powerful enemies to beat. So that's what we did. We hit the trail because we heard a rumor of dark magics going afoot. We followed the path all the way to Helgen and was met by a devious foe. A minotaur had taken over the fort, and we fought tooth and nail until we took the minotaur and his horns. But we had even more powerful enemies to face. Luckily, we had a sky shard though. We kept following the snowy trail until we got to the necromancer's location. The undead had risen from the cold dead ground, and it was up to us to slay them. Upon slaying, it seemed that the necromancers summoned a power too powerful for them, and it ended up backfiring. But we used this to our advantage. We found one of the ancient tomes and studied its magic. Maybe today was the day the deep dark elf could cast. And cast he did. He summoned the undead right in front of him. He was finally tapping in to his inner magic, and these sky shards helped a little bit. We went back to Whiterun as night had fallen, and then to the Companions Guild to rest our head. Day 5 was done, and day 6 had started. We woke up feeling like we got hit by a giant. We had some kind of disease, so we headed to the alchemist to pick up a cure disease potion. Yeah, that feels much better. We're gonna need all the strength we can get because we were off once again. We traveled through the Whiterun plains, chatted with some red guards on the way, and made it to our location. Someone had lost a ring, and we simply went to go retrieve it. But we also had another task. There was a bandit hideout and we had to clear it. So we infiltrated, we took out their guard dog, and these bandits were tough. One of them was even fitted up with dragon plate armor. We had to take him down and take that. So the battle ensued. Magic was flying everywhere. Swords were swinging, but Team Deep banded together. We weren't giving up. Even our new conjuration skills were making an impact. Until eventually, we slayed the bandit chief, and we even scored his armor. This was a big win. This armor would be fundamental in our survival in the future. There was nothing stronger than a finely made dragon plate armor set. We scored big on this one. We went to the priest to give him back his ring, and then back to the Cloud District to tell Proventus his bandit chief was slain. Then feeling mighty fine with our new dragon plate armor, it was time to take out the weapons shopkeeper. We challenged him to the duel. And as you could expect, we were still beaten into a pulp. We had many victory todays, but we ended on a defeat. We limped back to our bed and slept the night away. It was time for day 7. And day 7, we wasted no time. It was straight to finding a way to become more powerful. So we had another bandit lair to clear out. But first we had to get inside. The outside was heavily fortified, filled with archers and warriors. But that was no problem. We had a small army of our own, and we quickly dispatched them. We had one final opponent inside the fort, and it was clear. It was time to head on inside. Inside, we were met with the same opposition. Powerful bandits tried to keep us at bay and protect their bandit chief, but we sliced and diced through them, and we kept trucking ahead until we found the bandit chief. He was equipped with the dwarven shield, and he was definitely hard to take down, partly because he ran. Of course, he couldn't escape, and we finished him, but right before we finished him, we threw a fireball at him, which was the wrong move to make. Feindal was hit with the impact of the explosion, and Feindal's life was ended. My main man all the way from Riverwood had died, and it was because of me. We picked Feindal up and roasted him on the fire. We had to have a moment of silence. He was a great warrior, and he will certainly be missed. We looted the rest of the cave and left Feindal roasting, then proceeded to go back to Dragon's Reach to tell Proventus of our win. Distraught from Feindal, we went to the tavern to have some drinks and rest our head. The next day rose, and Feindal was still in our head, and then the courier came to remind us again. Feindal had died. We received an inheritance. I guess Feindal put us in their will. Feindal was a true friend. We couldn't let his death derail us, and we also had to fill his slot. We heard someone in another town inquiring for work, so we headed to the city of Falkreath and tried to find him. He was at the local tavern and upstairs having some lunch. His name was Lucian, and he seemed eager to go. A milk drinker, but we could turn him into a fine warrior. We took our new compadre. Though he could never fill Feindal's spot, he would certainly help us on our journey. Upon leaving the tavern, we were greeted by an orc by the name of Isran. He mentioned a growing vampire menace, and the deep dark elf immediately jumped at the opportunity. What would be more challenging than facing some vampires? This was the perfect opportunity to level up. So we took the invite and slept on a nighttime carriage until we hit the city of Riften. Riften was definitely a new sight. The forest was rich, but there was the same troubles. Bandits harassing citizens, and we had to help out. So we disposed of this one, and of course the citizen was thankful. We headed down the trail once again and ran into a band of merry travelers. They offered us some honey brew mead, and why not? We had to pour one for Feindal anyway. We finally made it to Dayspring Cavern, and what a sight it was to see. Glaciers and waterfalls covered the entrance, and we've never seen anything like it. But we came here to level up and become more powerful, not sightsee. So we went in to talk to Isran, and he gave us a mission right off the bat. We had to go over the Dim Hollow Crypt and find the secret that was lying there. And what a juicy secret it was. When we made it to the crypt, we had our first encounter with vampires. And yes, they were tough. But we had a band of friends protecting our back. We slayed our first vampire and luckily found a blade imbued with fire properties. This would definitely help us slay the vampires. So we went deeper into the crypt, slaying undead, and the onslaught was never stopping. This crypt was absolutely packed. Draugr, skeletons, vampires. This place had to be hiding something important. But slice and dice we did until we reached the final boss, a giant skeleton carcass. We kept our distance as our new friend Lucy distracted him. Our only chance of taking him down was a lot of magic and a lot of luck. And luckily, luck was on our side. With the boss slayed, we went through the blood ritual and solved the puzzle of the flaming torches, which revealed another vampire. Her name was Serana, and she had an elder scroll on her back. We had to get her out safe, but that was going to be hard. Gargoyles spawned, which were a new tough enemy, but Serana was absolutely clutch. We kept slaying the undead and progressing further into the crypt until eventually we slayed all in our way. We finally exited, and it was time for a rest. Serana had been trapped for thousands of years. We've just lost Feindal, and these were the toughest enemies we've ever faced. We went back to Whiterun and into the tavern to have a nice wash finally, have a nice drink and food, and revel in the moment. We had come a long way since day one. We've lost friends and even met new friends, but the challenges ahead were great. We took this night for ourselves because who knows when we'll get another one like this. This may be the end of part 1, but the journey continues.